Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video at Sparklers. We are the makers, and in today's video we are going to talk about VL53L5CX multi-zone time of flight sensor, or we call it TOF sensor. Now there is an interesting fact about this TOF sensor, that unlike ultrasonic sensor or single zone TOF sensor which gives you a single distance value, this module gives you 8x8 grid, or like you can say 64 independent distance values. So basically using that you can actually plot the values in a 2D heat map, or you can even visualize that in 3D. So basically it can work like a mini lidar kind of thing, you can say. And as it's a 8x8 grid, so basically using this we can do applications like hand gesture recognition, then we can do human presence detection, and n number of projects we can do using this. Now in this video I am going to discuss how this VL53L5CX actually works, how it is giving you 8x8 distances, how you can interface it with Raspberry Pi, but in the similar way you can also do it with USB32 or maybe STM32, Arduino, anything. And then I'll show you how you can plot the values in a 2D heat map, and then we'll go one step forward and we are going to plot it in, we will do 3D visualization. And all these things we are going to do in this video. And so if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe so that whenever we make contents like this, you will get an update. And now without wasting any time, let's get started. So before we connect the module with Raspberry Pi and I show you the practical things, let's first talk about how this VL53L5CX actually works. Now, so here as you can see, so basically I already mentioned that VL53L5CX is a time of flight sensor mainly. So basically what it does is throws an infrared light, it reflects back, it compute, basically it takes the time the light took to reflect back, and based on that it compute the distance. This is how basically a normal TOF sensor ideally works. Now the specialty about this multi-zone sensor is that it, instead of giving you just one single distance value, it gives you a 8x8 grid. So basically 64 independent distance values it gives you. And here also another, sometimes we also call it that it sees in the dark. So basically it means that as it's 8x8 grid, sometimes by just looking at the if you plot it in a heat map, we can actually, from the heat map we can understand shape of the object, you can say. So we can do like things like human detection, gesture recognition. So that's why sometimes we also call it kind of a camera which works in the dark also, because it does not depend on the light, it just throws the IR and reflects back, and based on the distance it shows us whatever it is. Okay, so this is the basic of this sensor. Now again, going forward, how it works. Now I already mentioned, first is going to emit the IR pulse. Next it reflects off the surface, it comes back to the module. Then there is this SPAD detects. So basically SPAD stands for single photon avalanche diode. Now there is a matrix of this SPADs, and using that only we detect 8x8 grid. We'll talk about more on the SPAD thing, and then finally we compute the distance for each 8x8 cell, we can say. And then again the core formula is just the same. Basically we use the speed of light and we divide by 2. All these things we do like ultrasonic or any other TOF. We compute the distance in that way only. And so basically this is how we do it. Now again, as I mentioned, like the major difference between traditional single point and this multi-zone is again the output. It is single, it is 8x8 matrix, and again it gives you a complete 2D depth map. Also there is another thing which is the field of view, which is for this one, it is the field of view is 63 degree, which is much higher if you compare with maybe VLX53L0CX or L1CX. If you compare, the field of view is very high also compared to ultrasonic sensor, anything like that. And that's why the use cases also are like gesture recognition, obstacle mapping, people counting, things like that. And this is how actually the output looks like if you see. So it's basically a 8x8 grid, and for each grid, for each cell, you are going to get an independent distance. So it can happen that in some grid it will be like the distance will be very less, it detects the object. For some grid the distance will be much higher. Okay, and in this way also we can get the shape of the object and those kind of things. Now two very important things about this module which makes it different. One is this DC SEL emitter and another is the SPAD detector array. So this VCACL emitter is basically a very low power consuming laser, we can say, and also basically this part, it provides a 63 degree of field of view, which is very important. And so how it works is, if I go to the next slide, you will see. So basically this here you will see the VCACL. From there is a optical element, and that is showing the light IR, and then that is from there we are getting a 63 degree of field of view. Then that is getting reflected back. And when it is reflected back, there is this SPAD array. Now this SPAD, I mentioned, single photon avalanche diode array. So what it does is, in simple terms, this SPAD, it can detect even a single photon. So when basically light is getting reflected back, it is detecting the photon, and it actually creates. So for individual cell, out of these 64 cells, for individual cells, it is actually creating a histogram, and from there it is doing peak detection. So all these things, all this algorithm making the distance calculation very much accurate. So that's why this module is also very much accurate if you compare with other traditional TF and stuff. So this SPAD detector array is the main reason that we actually get that 8x8 zone, and also we get a very accurate distance measurement. And going forward, that was about how it works. Now going to the specs, I already mentioned 63 degree field of view, 64 sensing zones, and also the max FPS you can get is 15 FPS, which is again like for 8x8 is 15 FPS. If you do 4x4, then you can also reach 30 FPS too. And also the max range is 4 meter, but again I have practically tested it and it does not give 4 meters. So I personally have got around 2.5 to 3 meters max. So that is what I'm getting max. So this is about the sensor, how it works. So now we will just see the sensor practically, how we can connect to Raspberry Pi, and then in the Pi how we can get the distances, how we can plot it in a 2D depth map, and then how we can visualize it in 3D. So let's see. So we received this module from DigiKey, and so here is the module. As you can see, it's written VLX53L5CX, and we got two modules here. Okay, both are just same. So I'll just take one module from here, and so as you can see, this is the module. So as you can see, this is the module here, and this is actually the main sensor. Okay, so VL53L5CX, this is the main sensor. Okay, and here we have some auxiliary circuitry, so that like for voltage regulator and other stuffs. So here, as you can see in the back side, we have all these pins. So here we have the ground pin, then we have the IO VDD and A VDD. So IO VDD is for the GPIO input output voltage input, and A VDD is for the analog voltage input. So basically these two pins supports up to 3.6 volts. So don't provide 5 volts, so it will not gonna work, and it is going to burn the entire TCB. Also here then we have the L pin, which we'll need. So LPN. So LPN will be used to turn on and off the sensor, and then we have the SDACL, so I2C. So this two we need to connect with our ESP32, Arduino, or Raspberry Pi, and this is how the major pins we need. Okay, so next I'll just take my Raspberry Pi. So now I will connect the Raspberry Pi with the module. So here at first we have the ground. So the ground of Pi will go to ground of the module. Then for the IO VDD and A VDD, we are going to use 3.3 volts from the Raspberry Pi. And then we'll also connect the GPIO. So I'm using GPIO 23 in the LPN. And finally SDACL will go to SDACL of Raspberry Pi. So this is how the connection will be done, and it's as simple as that. And now the module is connected with Raspberry Pi, and now it is ready to be used. So we can go inside the Pi and we can check how it is working. So now we have connected the sensor with Raspberry Pi, and now we are ready to work with it. So here I have already inside my Raspberry Pi, and I am using VNC here. So here the very first thing is, so I'll provide you all the codes I'm using in this very particular video. You'll get in the GitHub repo, I'll put in the description. So the very first thing we really need to do is, so we'll use the visualize.py code. So let me show you the code first. So this is how the code looks like. This is how the code looks like here. So the only library that you need, so Matplotlib by default comes with Python nowadays, so it's not need to be installed, but this library you need to install, which is VL53L5CX C types. So you can simply write like pip install or pip3 install, whichever you are using, and you can just install the VL53L5CX types. So just this one, pip install this thing, and it will be installed. Once that is installed, you are good to go. There is nothing else you need. All the things comes with Raspberry Pi itself in Python. So now here what we are using, as you can see, LPIN we have decided. So if you are using a different GPIO, you need to use different GPIO for the LPIN. SGSCL you cannot change, so there is no meaning in that, defining that. Now resolution we have set 8 because 8 is only the resolution we can, from the sensor we can only get 8. But sometimes what we do, we try to interpolate it, and we may want to do it for 16 into 16 or 64 into 64. Those kind of things you can do, but here I'm just going to show you the raw data that we are getting. And so next, max distance we have saved as like 3000 mm, which is 3 meter around. Now the remaining things I'm not discussing that much. You are just creating the VL53L5CX object and stuff. So we are setting the resolution. Another important thing, we are setting the ranging frequency at 15 Hz, and then there is like we are going to create a heat map using matplotlib, and then there is about so there we have some colorization and stuff. So we are doing here nothing that much important. Another important thing here, that is the main thing, that is here, as you can see, we are reading the data. So if the data is ready, we can simply read the data from the object using the get data method. You can get the data directly, and that is completely a distance data, so that directly the matrix you are going to get. Just get the matrix, put it, you can just use a numpy array or something to put it in, and then you can just do the operations you want to do. It's as simple as that. So here we are only doing that, and that's it. So this is the code. Now I am simply going to run the code for you and show you how it actually works. So let me go to terminal, go to desktop and the folder, and inside that I'll simply write Python and visualize.py, and that's it. Now I'll just hold the sensor. As you can see, I'm already getting it, so I'll just maybe make it little bigger. And as you can see, so here you will see we are also going to get the distances. So as you can see, these are the individual, so there are 8 cross 8 matrix, and here we are going to get individual distances. So for example 1930 or something like that, this is the distance in mm, and for each cell we are going to get that. Now as soon as I put my hand over it, you will see some pixels here, or say some blocks here are showing lesser distance because it is detecting, so my hand is above it. And if you see completely, if I put my hand here, then you will see I am completely the field of view I am blocking. Okay, for me I am blocking. So now most of the cells are showing you a lesser distance. Now again, if you see, I just maybe use my finger, you will see just a small part of it will show. And actually, so by this you can actually, I think you can think that it in this way it can actually do how you can do gesture detection, because if you see, if I just do my hand in this way, this will be a different kind of here scene you will get, whereas if I do something like this, or I just open my hand, it will be a different kind of thing. So from there we can actually detect a lot of things. So that's why I said it's just not a single distance, we are going to get a full like 2D view of the thing. Okay, and even not just a 2D view, also a 3D kind of view we can say, because you are also getting the distances. So that I'll show you next, but this is how overall this thing is working. And as you can see, it's very fast. Okay, so it's real time. Okay, and you'll see the delay is very low. Now this is about the visualize thing. Now let us take it to the next level, and what I'll do, I'll show you a visualize 3D. So there is a visualize 3D script which I'll next show you. So again the things are almost similar, except that currently we are using SciPy for a few parts of it. And again, so here we are not doing anything with the sensor itself. It's mostly Python and data visualization thing. So I'm not going to talk too much about it. The script will be in the description. You can just go and read it. But I'm going to run it and I'm going to show you how it looks like. So Python visualize 3D.py. Now, so as you can see, this is how it is looking like. So again, let me make it a bit bigger. So this is how it looks like. So now if I see, as you can see, this is how it is looking. Okay, so in this way. So also it is doing, so if I do it for a single finger, you will see it's something like this. So now we are visualizing the data over a, like you can say, kind of a 3D visualization we are doing, right? But now if you see, the data is like very noisy. right? So it's hard to detect something from here. So you'll see this is useless. I'm unable to understand why this data is this blurry and it is not that stable. I do agree, and that's why we also have another code which is 3D stable. Now with that code again, I'll just open it quickly and show you. So again, the same things, nothing special, but here we are doing a lot things. So interpolation, for stability we are doing few things. So there are 3 filters. So I only talk about this thing in the code. There are 3 filters: alpha, deadband, and Gaussian sigma. Using these 3 things, you can actually calibrate how you want your 3D system to work. So for example, the alpha is for temporal smoothing. So if you increase the value or decrease the value, based on that the smoothness will depend. So the more you increase the value, it will be more smooth, but again the latency will increase. Okay, so for very quicker movements it will not going to detect. So we have put it 7.5. you can test with 6 or 9 also. So with 9 you will see it's very smooth, and but again the latency will be high. Smaller glitters will not take, very fast movements will not take, whereas 6 will be less stable, but again it will be quite responsive. But here then also using the deadband and Gaussian sigma, all these things, what you can really do is you can, so the smaller flickers or smaller noises, based on the values, you can just ignore those. So how much you want to ignore the smaller movement and stuff, so you can just play a little bit with the values, and then you will understand how this thing is working. But yeah, just by changing these 3 filters, you can make the 3D visualization work as per your requirement. Now again, let me go back and run the code for you and show you how it looks. So here we have 3D stable, 3D stable.py, and now, so here it is. Again, let me zoom it a bit. So this is how it looks like. So just a moment, yes. So as you can see, so now you will see this is very smooth. Even if you see my finger, you can actually see that a finger kind of shape is getting generated. If I do 2 fingers, as you can see, now it is different. As you can see, there are 2 fingers you can see, and also in between there is a gap, so that you can really visualize using this. If I do it in this way, my hand in top, you will also see. So this is very smooth, and as you can see, the smaller noises, it will not show that much. Okay, now by adjusting those values, you can increase the noise. So if you are doing something with the gesture, or you need the smaller details, you need to vary the filters. Okay, but just varying the filters you can do it, but this is very smooth. Okay, you can see this plane is like, and also it's not very responsive. So as I already mentioned, as the value 7.5 is not very responsive, so based on the values you can change the responsiveness and how much you want to filter the noise and do stuff. But this is how you can. So I hope you have understood like how much things you can do with this sensor. Now in future videos we are going to do a lot of things with this module. So if we get a very good response in this video, very soon we are going to make a how you can do gesture recognition with this, or unique human presence, and also we are working on trying to build a mini LiDAR based car with this module. So maybe very soon those videos will publish, and for that please subscribe to the channel, so that whenever we will upload a video you will get a notification, and please hit the notification bell also. And if you have any query regarding this module or any other things, please let us know in the comment section. We'll try our best to help you out. And that's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the very next video.